Border Dreams, Part 2 by Rosane Thomas. The first morning in the cabin did not feel like victory. It felt like waiting. People in there felt anxious. Maria sat on the edge of a thin mattress. Isabella was still asleep beside her when she noticed the woman across the room watching her. She looked tired, but there was something steady in her eyes, something that suggested she had already made peace with the journey. Later that day, the woman approached her. "My name is Rosa Martinez," she said softly in Spanish. "I'm from Honduras." Maria nodded. "My name is Maria, and this is my daughter Isabella." Rosa smiled gently at the sleeping child. "Mine is Camila. She's 10." Camilla sat nearby quietly braiding her own hair. The women spoke in low voices, sharing pieces of their stories like fragile glass. Rosa had traveled much farther. She had crossed through multiple countries before reaching Mexico, facing dangers Maria could barely imagine. But unlike Maria, she had something waiting for her. "My cousin is in Texas," Rosa explained. "He's driving to come and get us. He says he has work for me." For a moment, Maria felt a flicker of envy. A destination, a plan, someone waiting. "I have no one," Maria admitted. Rosa hesitated. "Then what will you do?" Maria didn't answer because she did not know. That evening, the translator gathered a small group together. His expression was serious. "There is something you all need to understand," he said, switching between Spanish and English. "What you do next matters more than how you got here." Rosa spoke first. "My family's coming. I'll go with them." The translator shook his head slowly. "That path is dangerous in a different way," he said. "If you stay hidden, if you live here without legal entry, it becomes very hard to fix your status later." He looked around the room, making sure everyone understood. In the United States, if you cannot prove legal entry, even marriage to a citizen may not protect you. You could be denied. The room fell silent. Maria felt her chest tighten. "So what should we do?" someone asked. The translator took a breath before answering. "You turn yourself in." The words felt heavy. "You let U.S. Customs and Border Protection find you," he continued. "You will be detained, processed. You may be separated from your children for a time." Maria's heart dropped instantly. She pulled Isabella closer. "No," she whispered. "But," he added carefully, "you will enter the system. You can request asylum. You will be given a court date, and that's your chance." He paused, then said the part that mattered most. "You must have a credible reason, a real fear, a story that explains why you cannot return to your country." That night, Maria could not sleep. The idea of willingly walking into the hands of authorities terrified her more than crossing the river had. But the alternative, living in the shadows, always afraid, never belonging, and worst of all, never being able to bring her family to her. She thought of her husband, of Mateo and Luis, of the promise she had made to herself that this journey would be for all of them. By morning, she had decided. Rosa made a different choice. "My family's coming," she said, holding Camilla's hand. "I can't risk losing her in the system." Maria understood. They hugged before parting ways, two mothers choosing different paths toward the same dream. "Maybe one day," Rosa said, "we will see each other again, in a better place." "Maybe," Maria replied. 2 days later, Maria stood at the edge of a dirt road with Isabella. In the distance, a patrol vehicle approached. Her hands trembled. "Mommy!" Isabella cried, asked quietly. Maria knelt down, holding her daughter's face. "No matter what happens," she said, her voice breaking, "I love you. And this is how we stay together in the end." The vehicle stopped. Agents stepped out. Maria raised her hands. The process was cold and overwhelming. She was taken into custody by U.S. Customs and Border Protection, fingerprinted, questioned, and moved through a system she barely understood. Every question felt like a test. Every answer felt like it could decide her future. Her greatest fear came true. Isabella was taken into a separate facility for children. The moment they were separated, Isabella cried in a way Maria had never heard before. "Mommy, don't leave me!" Maria reached for her, but she was held back. "It's temporary," someone said in English. But Maria didn't know how long temporary meant. Days felt like months. When it came time for her interview and later her court appearance, Maria held on to the story she had prepared. She spoke of fear, of danger, of a cartel that had threatened her family after her husband became entangled in something he could not escape. She described the sleepless nights, the warnings, the belief that staying in Mexico could cost them their lives. Whether every detail was questioned or believed, Maria told it with conviction, because in her heart, the fear she carried was real, even if shaped by desperation and uncertainty. Weeks turned into months. Maria was eventually released under supervision with a court date set, part of a process often described in the news during the presidency of Joe Biden's as catch and release. She stayed in temporary housing, navigating paperwork, interviews, and long periods of waiting. Every day without Isabella felt incomplete until finally the call came. Her daughter was being released. When Maria saw Isabella again, she ran. She didn't care who was watching. She dropped to her knees and held her child so tightly it felt like she might disappear again. "I missed you," Isabella said as she sobbed and smiled at the same time. "I am here," Maria whispered. "I'm not going anywhere." Months later, Maria stood in a small courtroom. Her hands were steady now. Her voice was stronger. When the decision came, she almost didn't understand the words at first, but it became clear. She had been granted asylum. A work permit would follow, a chance to stay in the U.S., a chance to build something real. Maria closed her eyes as tears fell quietly down her face, not from fear this time, but from relief. That night, she tucked Isabella into a small bed in a rented room she had obtained in San Diego. It wasn't much, but it was theirs. She had found a temporary cleaning job through someone she met. "Are we staying, Mommy?" Isabella asked. Maria smiled softly. "Yes," she said, "we're staying." She looked out the window at a country that still felt unfamiliar, but no longer unreachable. For the first time since she left home, Maria allowed herself to imagine the future again. One day she would find a way. One day her husband and her sons would join her and Isabella. And when that day came, their journey would finally feel complete. If you enjoy this story, follow, share for more. Thank you for listening.